Let's take a look at this Genji Shuriken fidget toy. I was really surprised to see how fast these spin compared to the 3D printed version that I made myself. Want to know how to maximize your fidget toy's rotation speed? Then be sure to stick around till the end of the video, because after a closer look and some experimenting, I've come up with some tips and tricks. Coming at you straight out of Chinatown, we have the Genji Shuriken spinners. This fidget toy craze, I don't know if it's a fad or if it's just going to keep getting better or more and more mediocre, but these are pretty cool. Now, I've already done something like this before, made my own little fidget toy ninja star, but these are made out of metal. I think it's like a zinc or something. Not the best quality, but they're existent. I can't really find any other American companies that will do that. They'll just jump on a trend knowing that it's going to get people to buy them. So I did get these online. I'll leave a link in the description. You can see nice attention to detail. These bearings are kind of interesting, very different. Most of them have this little plastic sort of spacer that keeps them in place, and there's a gunk that basically helps to lubricate, but that's actually not something you want if you want to maximize your speed. Now, this being made out of metal in general is going to make them spin a little bit faster. Still working on design with my other fidget spinner for adding maybe some nuts and bolts within the actual 3D print. But this thing is just a lot of fun, and it kind of hurts your knuckles after a while. Thinking about sharpening these and kind of using them like real ninja stars. So if that's something you'd like to see, leave a comment below. Now, I was spinning this so fast that this little cap here raised up and the bearings are no longer equally spaced out, which is causing this to malfunction. So I can go in there with a little pin and sort of get them back in place, but I kind of wanted to take this time to see what the big difference is with some of the other bearings that I'm using, and also show you some tips and tricks to make your fidget spinners get their maximum rotation speed. So I was actually able to find a bearing that's pretty similar in diameter to the one that you find in the Genji Shuriken. I'll leave a link in the description of this video if you want some for yourself. This is just a traditional skateboard bearing, pretty easy to come by, but I'm going to be taking one of these apart. And you can see these tiny bearings. Pretty awesome comparison in size for the bearings for the skateboard versus these ones on the Genji Shuriken style spinners. And fully disassembled, there are these little rings that pretty much hold in all of the ball bearings, and they sit in those little grooves there. So there's a bunch that are missing, and actually to remove them I had to kind of damage the one, so I don't think this one's going to get fixed anytime soon, but that's alright, no worries. I have a couple of these. So to reassemble it with the little guide in the center, very diligently put all the bearings back in place. So this is with a modified bearing. Now I'm going to go ahead and swap out the original bearing here, and you can see the difference. There's some definite friction there. So the best way to fix this is to remove these caps. I want to use a small flathead screwdriver, just kind of try and pry out like so, and there you go. Pretty simple to do. Same thing on both sides. Now you can see how greasy these caps are, and that really gunks up the bearings in here. It's nice for keeping out dust and dirt and all that stuff, but we don't really care about that because these aren't going to be used on skateboards or anything like that. So we're going to actually swap out the lubricant, and you can see already how much of a difference. I think that helps a lot. Also, it might help to use a little bit of soap and just kind of clean them. So as an alternative lubricant, we're going to be using Speed Cream, which is specifically for skate bearings. Race Formula. That sounds fancy. So just go ahead and add a couple drops. You could probably just put it on one side and spin it, and it'll kind of work its way in there. Now just be careful because this can actually be a little bit irritating to your eyes. It's just a lot smoother. You can tell just from the sound and feeling it. There's not as much vibration and catching and grinding. It's a much nicer spin. So you can pretty much do this with any fidget toy. Now this shuriken is just a little bit grindy. You can hear it's just catching. Now watch what happens when I add a little bit of this lubricant here. Much better spin, you're not getting any of that grinding noise. Definitely an improvement. If you were to have like an old skateboard and you want to salvage the bearings and then just use a little bit of hot glue to hold them in place. Just take a little bit of sandpaper and scuff up the edges where you're going to be adding the bearings. Also use a cloth to wipe away any excess oils. Now I know this is not perfect, actually it's downright ugly, but if you need to get your fidget toy fixed, this will definitely get the job done. As an alternative to the sticky and sometimes painful mess of hot glue, you can use zip ties. As you can see, I used 4 of them in total, 2 of them to hold on the outer bearings, and another 2 that I've kind of centered right here. So these are pretty simple to make, and the cool thing is these still can spin. So this version's a little bit more compact, probably easier to carry. Reminds me of the GreekGadgetGuru, which is the original fidget toy, in my opinion. Alright, so there you have it, the Genji Shuriken fidget spinner. This thing is a very awesome buy. Definitely worth it, and I'll leave a link in the description for you if you want to pick one up yourself. Also, we have the Speed Cream, which is like the secret sauce of making your fidget toys spin at their maximum speed, and it's actually a race formula lubricant. Also, if you want to make your own fidget toy and you have the bearings to do so, you can just follow the short little tutorial that I showed you and just connect them with some zip ties. So if you want to kind of get in on this fad, or maybe it's not, maybe we're going to have fidget toys in like 1,000 years and they're going to be flying in space and shit. I don't know, but I think it's just kind of, I mean, there's so many limitations on spinning objects, we'll see. Please do me a favor, keep in mind the best thing for my channel is to release ideas that are new for releases of movies or video games, something that people are going to be talking about, that's fresh, and just going to have a lot of buzz going all around it for that specific title or search terms. That's really how YouTube is. It's kind of a game of Battleship, you know? You got to figure out what people are thinking about, what people are searching for, make that thing, and hope for the best. That's how it all comes down to. I really do appreciate your viewership on this channel and participation especially. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, take it easy.
Where is it written that all our dreams must be small?